Recently, the VHS genre has been a little bit overdone, especially on YouTube. It seems if someone wants to make something aesthetic, they'll just slap a VHS filter on it and use one of those VHS startup screens before the video. But sometimes there is actually something brilliant to come out of a genre. VHS Paradise is a short slice of life horror game that's currently been doing numbers in the YouTube Let's Play scene. And, quite rightly so, the game is really good. It's created by Fidev, an Argentinian game developer who's made a plethora of games and been releasing them on itch.io. The two most recent being retro horror games, this being a style I think they've pretty much perfected. The graphics of VHS Paradise don't look out of place in this time period, having blurred edges, low poly models and a slight chromatic aberration on the edges of text. As well as having some really solid sound design, the mechanics of the game is where VHS Paradise shines. So let me take you through the game and what makes it so good. You spawn outside the shop, ready to start your night shift at the store. Behind the counter, there's a note left by the store manager, telling you that he's left a film for you to watch after the shift, and to be careful of thieves as there's been a recent increase in crime among the city. After you've read the note, you can choose to start your shift, or you can explore more of the shop. On the right of the counter, there's a door which leads down into the basement. There's not too much interactivity down here, other than a microwave you can turn on, and if you turn it on too many times, it'll blow up and start smoking. Coming back up to the counter, you can interact with the computer to start your shift. A slew of customers will come through the door, a mixture of normal customers and thieves. Normal customers will come up to the counter to purchase their desired film, often providing some world building as you put through their purchase. Most of the customers will say how dangerous the city has become and how it isn't safe at night anymore, whilst another will talk to you about how they were fired from their job due to downsizing. The thieves will act like normal customers until they pick up a VHS tape, sprinting to the door as soon as they've stopped looking at it. You can chase after them, but from my experience, if you're behind the counter, then it's going to be pretty hard to catch up to them if you don't react quick enough. However, if you do catch them, they'll state a reason as to why you should let them go. You can either forgive them and let them go on their way, or you can call the police to get them arrested. But in this game, each action has its own consequence, so I would be careful to which one you choose. The final customer for that night allows for a two-way conversation that you can choose what to say, the first and only character to do so. There's a mixture of responses you can give, some options being nicer to the customer, and others shutting down the conversation immediately. For the sake of this playthrough, let's choose option 1. After the customer leaves, it's time to close the shop down for the night. However, you've got to go turn your car alarm off, a seemingly reoccurring issue as you've had it fixed before the shop, not long ago. Returning back to the store, you can finally watch a film that John's left you. That is who the customers have been trying to warn you about. The serial killer who is terrorising the town has just added you to the list of missing people. However, in doing so, they have already revealed their identity to us. Right before the final jump scare, you can see Naughty Rabbit's sexy adventure play on the TV. What am I doing? Funnily enough, you had a customer come in and purchase the very same VHS tape before you closed down the store for the shift. Meaning that customer has to be the serial killer. This customer is the only one you can have direct input with. So what happens if you choose something other than option 1? All of the customers that come into the store is random each time you play the game. Each character keeps the same trait in dialogue, but the selection that comes in is different each time. The only two that are guaranteed to come into the store is the man who's just been fired and the final customer of the night. Now, what happens when you choose either option 3 or option 4 when talking to the final customer? The customer leaves as per usual, and after he does, you can shut the store for the night. Notice this time how your car alarm doesn't go off and you can go straight to watching the film that John has left you. After the film has ended, you can go back outside the front of the shop and drive home safely to achieve the good ending of VHS Paradise. Now, the eagle-eyed among you would have noticed that said 3 out of 3 endings, but I've only shown you 2 endings so far. That's because there is another ending in which you could run away from the killer in the basement. The setup is the same as ending 1. Go throughout the shift as normal, and when the final customer comes in, choose either option 1 or option 2. As soon as the film is done, get ready to run out of the basement as the killer spawns directly behind you. After you do manage to get out of the basement, you can make a beeline for your car and drive off. The alarm going off was never a fault with your car. It was the killer cutting your brake lines, making sure that if he didn't manage to kill you in the store, the lack of brakes in your car would certainly finish you off. This is why your car alarm goes off at ending 1 and not at ending 3, because in ending 3 they've got no intention of killing you, but in ending 1 they do. Cutting the brake lines is a precaution of them not being able to catch you in the actual store. I really like this part of the game. It shows that your actions do actually impact the way the game plays out, not only with the different dialogue options, but whether or not you can actually escape the killer and the precautions that they have taken along with that. This really adds a lot of depth to the game, and shows that a ton of effort's been put into working out every eventuality for every ending. If you load into the game again, you can see that the once purple store sign has turned yellow, showing that you've completed all the endings, a sort of well done badge for doing it. Well, actually you haven't completed all the possible endings. There are actually some secret endings that build upon the already existing ones. The first one I discovered was the heroic ending. Before starting the shift, I was exploring the basement of the store. In the back room, there's a key on the shelf with a load of VHS tapes on it. This key allows you to unlock the door behind the counter, letting you into a room with a knife on the table. The knife doesn't have any effect on your gameplay until you finish the shift. If you choose the option to get the killer to come into the basement with you, instead of running away, you can pull out the knife and take matters into your own hands. This makes you the hero of the city, stopping the killer who's been on the loose and terrorising the population. The other secret ending is the unemployed ending. In order to unlock this ending, you've got to let every thief go when you capture him, and then choose either option 3 or 4 in the dialogue choice to not get the killer to come after you. You'll drive off and get home safely, but a screen will pop up saying that you've been fired due to being an accomplice to all the store robberies. And that is all the endings I know of for VHS Paradise. There may be more out there that I haven't found, like one that involves this door at the bottom of the basement that I haven't found a way to open yet, or ones added in future updates. While seemingly pretty simple on the surface, VHS Paradise is actually extremely well thought out. All your actions have consequences, and it's really interesting how that changes the characters around you. The amount of world building this game does as well in such a short space of time is incredible. Having the lore drop seem so natural, and not someone coming up to you and just explaining everything right there and then. Having it slowly explained to you over multiple playthroughs is more akin to how it would be in real life, making this game more believable and just more enjoyable as well. While the game is pretty short, the replay value is definitely very high. Once you get all the endings, you can try and find out more secrets and possibly other endings for yourself. And because the game hasn't been out for that long either, there is probably more to be found but we don't know about yet. And yeah, VHS Paradise is a great game and I cannot recommend it enough. So yeah, go download it and give it a playthrough. Cheers for watching.